Okay, I'll call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led today by Councilman Michael McDermott.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Present.
Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Councilman Hersberg.
Here.
Councilman Londo.
Here.
Councilman McDermott.
Here,
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Present.
President Hart.
Here.
A quorum is present.
We'll now move to questions or input on the agenda from the public. This section will allow a person to be recognized only at the beginning of the meeting to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda at the meeting. Questions asked will be answered during the agenda item following a motion and support from the council. First hand we have raised is from Mr. Edward Pruitt. Mr. Pruitt.
Hello, this is Pastor Edward Pruitt with A Better Westland. Thank you for the time to speak today. And I want to speak on the agenda item, the resolution. Racism is a health crisis. And I want to, as we consider this resolution and move it to the final stages and enact this, that we remember the history. In Westland, what we have found is that George Floyd was the straw that broke the camel's back. And we've seen 5 days of protest outside of the police station where protesters of all races, Black, Hispanic, white, and other races come together and say, even in Westland, we can't breathe. There were 7 days of protests outside of City Hall where racial diversity, that can, kept getting kicked down the road and citizens continued to speak out. Then the resolution came forth, presented by Councilwoman Tasha Green. And in the midst of that, it was gutted and weakened. It began what we call an outcry from the citizens. Westland's demographics for racial, the racial components, it's about 30% minority. When we compare that to the government, we find that the government and the mayor's office and the police station and the fire department, they are nowhere near that. When we understand the need for racial diversity, we understand the heart of the people. We understand the voice of the people. We understand that opportunities for racial diversity, those things help with economics. They help with the health crisis itself, the directly and indirectly impacting those. So as you consider this resolution and you place your vote today, I need you to think about the people who have been marginalized, those people who have been disenfranchised, those people who have been set aside. This is the time that our vote or your vote matters to show the people of the city of Westland that you care about them above all else. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Miss Gina Wilson Stewart. Miss Gina Stewart, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just had a question under the therefore section, on the third bullet. Just wanted to make sure that wasn't a typo. It says, of course, the bullet before that says that the mayor will form a commission. And then it says under the third bullet, the commission will conduct an assessment. And further on, it says led by a commission board. My question is that the same commission where it says the commission and then it says a commission? Should that A also mean so that means that it's just one board, one commission? That once, I mean, it'll be more clearer if it says that, when I first read it, it seems like it might be two commissions, the commission, then another commission. So you can clarify that before you guys vote on it. That'll be great.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. All right, is there any other questions on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Londo.
I got a motion by Councilman Londell, supported by Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any other discussion from the council?
Yes, I'm having a problem raising my hand.
All right, I do see Councilman Herzberg's up, and I've got you next, Councilman Green. Councilman Herzberg?
Well, I'm the maker, so aren't I supposed to go first?
No, Councilman Londell was the maker and Councilman McDermott was the supporter.
Oh, okay, of the motion. Okay, thank you.
You got it. Councilman Herzberg.
Thank you, Council President. I would just like to move item G to new business for discussion, please.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, there's support. Is there any discussion from the council on the moving the item? Councilman Green, your hand's up, but we have a sub motion here. So do you have any comment on the sub motion or, okay. Just making sure, trying to keep it taken care of. Any other discussion on this motion? Roll call.
This is to move item G to new business 1A. Councilman Godbout,
Yes.
Councilwoman Green,
Yes,
Councilman Herzberg,
Yes.
Councilman Londo,
Yes.
Councilman McDermott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski,
yes,
President Hart.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Back to the original motion on consent calendars. Any other discussion from the council? Councilwoman Green.
no, I withdraw my, my hand. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion from the council? All right, roll call.
Councilman Godbout,
Yes.
Councilwoman Green,
Yes,
Councilman Herzberg,
Yes.
Councilman Londo,
Yes.
Councilman McDermott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski,
yes,
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Council has approved the following consent calendar items: minutes of the regular meeting held July 20, 2020, minutes of the study session held June 20, 2020, minutes of the study session held June 27, 2020, request from Independent Carpet One to conduct their annual Turn the Town Teal campaign to place teal ribbons on the trees lining Ford Road from the old City Hall to Wayne Road, and on Wayne Road from Ford Road to Cherry Hill on or about September 1, 2020 through September 30, 2020. Approval of purchase of 396 gallons recycling carts and 450 96 gallons refuse carts from Toter LLC for the Department of Public Service. Total cost not to exceed $39,338.20. Approval of purchase of a server purchase for the police department. The proposal was submitted by Amerinet and amount not to exceed $13,316.59. Adoption of ordinance 248-898 to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Westland by amending section 110-9.5, Article 16, Chapter 110, entitled Off-Street Parking and Loading Requirements. This item had been introduced July 20, 2020. Last item approved on the consent calendar, adoption of ordinance 248-899 to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Westland by amending section 110.9.5, Article 9, Chapter 110, entitled CB2 Shopping Center Commercial Business District. This item had been introduced July 20, 2020. Moving to unfinished business. Adoption of prepared resolution declaring racism is a public health crisis.
So moved.
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Herzberg.
Got a motion by Motion by Councilman Hertzberg, supported by Councilman Londo. There was a question from the public, Mr. McNamara, on the third bullet point, which Miss Gina Wilson Stewart, she remembered she asked for it. The second sentence, led by a commission board, was that a typo where it was an omission where commission and board were synonymous? Do you have an opportunity to comment on that, please?
Yes, Council President, I believe that is a typo. It should be led by a commission and the word board should be deleted.
It's my understanding as well, based off the discussion we had, I believe that was omitted. Mr. Attorney, do we have to make a motion to strike that out, or can we just remove that as an acknowledged typo?
It is part of the resolution. I would consider it a typo. Obviously, we went through a couple drafts of this resolution, and the intent was for that to be led by a commission and the word board deleted.
I'm satisfied with that. So council, just note that the word board will be removed. It is a typo. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Next, from the council, I have Councilwoman Green with her hand up. Councilwoman.
Thank you, and thank you, Attorney McNamara. It actually should say led by the commission, not a commission. The commission is one and the same. The commission that will be set up to conduct the assessment is the same commission that will work in collaboration with elected city officials. So can you, this actually is not the exact verbiage that was discussed and requested during the study session. So in terms of the typo, it should say led by the commission. And I wanted to confirm that that will be the correction as it relates to the verbiage.
Attorney McNamara, I'm fine with that. I think the council's fine with that. I think that's agreeable. So just led by the remove substitute the word the, and then remove board to read led by the commission in collaboration with other relevant parties, so on and so forth.
I've made a note of that, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. McNamara. Councilwoman Green, any more comment?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I noticed that on several sections of the agenda, you have referenced the maker of the items that go before City Council. Even on the agenda that we have today, item D under consent calendar, you listed that it was from the petitioner. Item F, you listed that it is from Brown, who is one of Mayor Wild's executives. Item H, you listed that it is from Mo, again, one of Mayor Wild's executives. I reviewed several previous agendas from our meetings and noticed that that has been standard practice. And due to me having been the elected official that presented the resolution to the city to declare racism a public health crisis, I asked you in writing on Friday, July the 17th, Monday, July 20th, and also Friday, July 30th, to make the correction to the agenda, because it is written that you, in fact, are the person who submitted it, which we all know that is not the case, but based on standard practice, it is in fact written that you are the person who submitted it. And so I would like to ask you, do you have any objection giving me credit for the work that I did on behalf of Westland citizens, and accordingly updating the agenda to remove your name as the presenter on unfinished business item 1 and list mine?
Okay, so first of all, I don't put those in there, the from Hart or from Mo and from that. That's actually a function of the clerk's office. So when the clerk's office receives these agenda items, there's certain people that can put things on the agenda. Members of the mayor's staff can put things forward to the agenda. And when anything comes from the council, that comes vis-a-vis and via the council president. So regardless, whoever the council president is. So if a number of council members wanted a resolution, it comes to the president, and so the clerk knows where that item came from. So if Councilman Godbout was a council president, it would say from Godbout. If Peter Hertzberg, Michael Londa, whoever. It's always been that way. Whoever puts the item forth on the agenda, and not so much the genesis of it. If you look back through history too, there's been other resolutions, and it wasn't the council member that had their name on there. It was either the council president, because the president moved it forward on the agenda, or it came from the attorney's office. So keeping things the way they've always been, and there's a reason for it for the clerk's office so that they're managing all of their items effectively. That's the way it goes. Now, I will tell you this, yes, in front of everyone here, we all know you brought the agenda item forward, and I thank you for bringing that. And I don't think anybody thinks to object to that. So we all agree that you brought the item forward, and we work collaboratively with everyone to put it together. So that's kind of how that works. So it's got nothing to do with, it's not my idea. It's not mine. It's the role of the office of the council president currently that I hold. When I move that item forward, the clerk's office puts that came from the council president, whoever that might be at that time.
Thank you, Council President. And I appreciate your explanation, but can you refer me to the area of the policy and or procedure that states that that is the way that it is supposed to be done? Or is this a preference? And I say that because you are referencing employees under Mayor Wiles on our agenda. I think my computer might have broken up. You are referencing Mayor Wiles' employees. You are referencing outside contractors and petitioners on the agenda. And you are telling me as an elected city councilwoman that this is the way it is. And you have to draft the agenda giving yourself credit. But that is not, my question is that based on your personal preference? And if it is not, can you please refer to the policy that states that? And if it is not policy, I would like a professional courtesy, because you are giving this same courtesy to people who are not even elected by citizens of Westland, contractors, residents, etc., outside organizations. I've looked at multiple agendas to where individuals are appropriately referenced. And so my question is, can you please refer or point out which area of policy that gives you the authority to decide if your name receives credit for the work of individual council persons, or if that is a individual preference that you have as the council president? And I will say that the clerk's office was copied on all of the emails that I sent you, asking that you make the correction, since the clerk's office is essentially the secretary of city council. And so they would not, they would take instruction from us. So the failure to have the agenda properly updated, unless you can provide the policy that backs up what you have chosen to do, they would not make an adjustment or a revision to our agenda unless they did receive that instruction from you. So can you please point out the policy that states that that's the way that it has to be?
Sure. So two things. Again, just to reiterate, I don't put those on that. That's the clerk's office. I did not put those notes on there. Again, and the policy that covers that, since we've been doing it that way for a long time, as long as I know, the best policies and procedures portion of our policies and procedures, best practices rather, portion of our policies and procedures covers that behavior. So, I mean, that's just the way it's been. And that's right. The best practice.
Thank you. What clause and what section of the policy and procedure states that? Because I'm unable to find it.
I will have to stop this meeting and research it. I'll get back to you afterward. So we'll move on. It is there. I assure you it's there.
It's not there. And unless you are prepared to move this vote until you can go to this agenda item, I would make a motion that if you are not able to provide the council and the public with whatever line item that you're referring to, which I was unable to find, so I have no reason but to believe that this is a preference of yours, a personal preference, And I believe each individual should receive credit for their work. And I will also state that there was one particular previous council person that placed a resolution forward. That was before I was elected, and the relationships that were existing on council, he was not one of the preferred, or the relationships may have played a role in why he was not recognized, nor did he request that a revision would be made. However, I have, and unless you can refer me to policy, I would like to receive the appropriate recognition as an elected city councilwoman for the resolution that I have put forward.
Okay, 10-minute recess.
Thank you.
All right, call this meeting back to order. I have 7:30. It's been 10 minutes.
Do we need a motion or anything, or?
Nope. Article 3, Section 8 of the City Council Policies and Procedures that were enacted March 16th of this year. In the event that the council policies and procedures do not cover a specific item, process, behavior, or procedure, the council shall use any existing or established best practice and custom which will apply. Okay, is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Godbout,
Yes.
Councilwoman Green, Councilwoman Green,
She might be froze up. Oh, there she is.
Councilwoman Green,
President, I'm sorry, I lost connect 3, Section 8. Can you please repeat what you stated for the record?
We're in the
we
middle
are
of
voting on a motion.
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor and we're voting. We're doing roll call now.
Well, I can't vote unless I know what I'm voting on, and I don't know what I'm voting on. So what section, what am I voting on?
Councilwoman Green,
I don't know what to vote, and you can't, you want me to vote on something I'm not aware of, and it becomes a legal statement of mine as a councilwoman. What am I voting on?
Councilman Herzberg.
We are doing virtual meetings, and you all won't give me a professional courtesy when you're giving it to each other. What are we voting on? So you're not going to let me vote?
Mr. Clerk, hold. Councilman Green, to answer your question. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm just making sure you have connectivity again. Section 8, or excuse me, Article 3, Section 8, best practices and customs. In the event, this was passed March 16th of this year as well, the most recent version. In the event that the council policies and procedures do not cover a specific item, process, behavior, or procedure, the council shall use any existing or established best practice and custom which will apply. That handles this issue.
Actually, it doesn't, Council President, because you don't represent the entire council. You took the position to do that yourself. That was not presented to the entire council. You're one of 7 members.
This is the policy and procedure. I am not making this up.
The policy and procedures states that the council shall use any existing or established best practice or custom which will apply. This, you taking that that step to do that does not mean that it applies. And if you don't speak, one member does not speak for the entire council. And so if you're telling me that the rest of the 6 members want to give you credit for my resolution, I would like them to say it for the record, because you don't
Point of order, Council President.
Yes.
Point of order, Council President. We are in the middle of a roll call vote.
Correct.
And this discussion is out of order.
Well, correct. I don't even know what I'm voting for. What is the vote for, please?
It is for the motion for the resolution that's on the agenda. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Can you repeat
If I may, Mr. President, I will repeat the motion and then begin to call roll.
Yes, please.
Unfinished business item 1, adoption of prepared resolution declaring racism is a public health crisis. The motion was by Councilman Herzberg. It was seconded by Councilman Londo, and I've been asked to call roll. Councilman Godbout.
Councilman Godbout, you're mute, but we saw you mouth. Can you unmute?
Yes. Yes.
Councilwoman Green.
Although this is being plagiarized, yes, I will support the motion that I did the hard work to present to the citizens of Westland.
Thank you. Councilman Hersberg.
Are we voting on the resolution? I also lost connection briefly.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Councilman Londo,
Yes.
Councilman McDermott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski,
yes,
President Hart.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. New business. Item 1A, approval of subscription renewal with Everbridge Nixie for Nixle for alerting services utilized by the Departments of Police and Public Service. The amount $6,171.67.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? A motion by Councilman Hersberg,
Support.
support by Councilman McDermott. Craig, you want to kind of explain that a little bit?
If I may, through the council presidents. So Nixle is a service that most people are familiar with. Whenever you see like a text message coming across from like the Wayne County Sheriff Office saying that there's not to go to a certain intersection because of an incident, or if there's a water main break, our Department of Public Service will put out an alert saying avoid this intersection or road section because of a water main break. The Weather Service, National Weather Service, you'll get notices saying that there's a tornado watch, for example. Those all go through various alerting services. One of the primary services that we use, because it's one of the most popular ones, is Everbridge's Nixle service. It's been pretty effective for us, along with quite a few organizations around us. Washington County Sheriff's Office uses it. Wayne County uses it. Quite a few of the cities and municipalities around us use it. And this is a straight renewal of the service we've been using for quite some time.
Thank you, Craig. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Yes, I have discussion.
Proceed.
Thank you. So through the chair to the city attorney or anyone from the administration who would care to comment on it, is there a current policy in place that we can look at that dictates when these alerts are going out and who the alerts are going out to? The reason I ask this is because we had a recent water issue, I'm sure everybody knows, in a certain corner of town. And I'm not sure Nixle was used to notify people. Actually, 4 or 5 days later, people were contacting me. They had no idea what happened. Even though it was all over social media, they had no idea what happened and their water was brown. So I had to direct them to some of the things the city was putting out online. So do we have a policy in place at the moment? And who decides?
If I can, Council Presidents, I can
Please do.
answer some of that. The Department of Public Services handles anything involving like water main breaks or infrastructure. The police department handles anything that's related to police department issues. I know for a fact that Nixle was used for the boil water advisory. There's 3 levels of alerts in Nixle. There's an alert, there's an advisory, and then there's I can't remember what the last one is called, but it's more like a commentary or something along those lines. I personally put out the boil water advisories. Now, when you set up Nixle, you decide which type of alerts you want to receive. Most people just select alerts. They don't select all 3 of them, so they don't get blown up on their phone with all the extra stuff that's put on there. So in this particular case, it was put out as an advisory because it was literally a boil water advisory. And I know for a fact I put out at least 2 notices involving it.
Thank you.
On behalf of the city.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I don't necessarily put the burden on you here when this stuff happens.
Yep.
You know, I just think maybe council should look at putting a policy in place so we can tackle some of these issues a little bit better. I do support the contract. I just wanted to bring that up for discussion. You know, another thing, there was the planned power outage. And that's a concern big time if somebody's on oxygen or what have you. So we need to do a better job at communication and getting the word out.
Thank you, Councilman Hersberg. I have commentary from the supporter next. Councilman McDermott.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to the administration, what is typically the turnaround time from you're able to get information and it's able to get into Nixle and out to the residents of the community?
Mayor.
Council President,
All right, so city council, there's a couple things we have to remember. Is first of all, residents have to subscribe to Nixle. So we can put stuff out on Nixle, but if a resident doesn't subscribe to it, they're not going to see it. They can do that right from our homepage on our website. You can sign up for Nixle reports, e-newsletters, and so on and so forth. But you do have to subscribe, and it is free. We work Nixle out of Craig Brown's office, and we work it out of the dispatch center. Typically, the stuff that goes through Nixle to this point has been police related, shutting down roads and other issues. Tonight with this contract, I believe that we'll be able to do more things with Nixle. One of the things with Nixle is that they offer free service to communities, but it's only for emergency related. With this contract tonight, I think we'll be able to get more information out. I'm actually going to have a meeting in my office with a few different people on staff, and we'll put together a little bit more of a Nixle plan that you can understand and you can share. In these instances, it's extremely important that the 7 council members work with the city administration to get the word out, because as you guys know, not all of our residents take their information the same way. We scrolled the water issue on WLND. We use social media. A lot of it's got to be word of mouth. So there were those of you that really helped out with that, and I appreciate it. But what we'll do is we'll put together a document so you can see exactly what type of things we can put on Nixle. Not everything's allowed on it, but the things that are, we'll share with you. We'll also give you another way too that perhaps you can promote the subscription of Nixle to your social media followers as well.
Are you all set, Councilman McDermott?
It does. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Next discussion we have is from Councilwoman Murkowski.
Thank you. I believe most of my inquiry was answered. I just wanted to know how we determine when an alert goes out or what constitutes an emergency, where to make sure that's getting out. So I think Councilman Hersberg and Councilman McDermott's inquiries pretty much answered what I was looking for. Thank you.
Next, we have Council President Pro Tem Michael Londo.
Thank you, Council President. I will be supporting this of this item on the agenda. I think Nixle is a great service. I agree with the mayor. I think we need to sit back and talk about this a little bit more and make sure we're all on the same page and we get the information out. As he mentioned, we do have to subscribe. I do subscribe. I lived in the affected area. I live in the affected area where the bottled boil water advisory was issued. I got a text message at 12:12 a.m. on Friday, July 24th. I got a text message Saturday, July 25th, 11:23 a.m. Another one Sunday, July 26th at 7:40 a.m. Just talking about the boil water advisory, and there's a link to click on for more information. So I subscribe to all of them, so I get all the traffic updates. If there's a fire and whatnot. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that information. I'll make sure to share it on my social media channels. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion from the Councilman Hersberg?
Thank you, Council President, and I want to thank the other council members for jumping in with some conversation on this. It's pretty important. I just had a follow-up question to the mayor. You mentioned that residents have to subscribe. It's a two-part question. Do we get charged more for more residents subscribing, or charge more or less? And then you also mentioned something about an emergency alert. Is there a way through Nixle or another company that we can send out an alert to everybody in a certain area if we looked at that? And that's all I have on the subject. Thank you.
Mayor?
Through the chair, I'll probably kick that over to Craig Brown. He could probably talk more about the specifics of the contract.
Craig?
Through the Council President, the contract is for our normal service subscription. I'll have to double check to see what the limits are in terms of how many people can be subscribed to it. I know the free version, there was a limitation on that. In terms of using the emergency alert system, if that's what you're implying to, that goes out to everybody regardless of whether or not their subscription. Regardless of whether or not they've subscribed to Nixle, that's a whole different beast when you're dealing with the emergency management alert system. from my understanding, there's a lot more hoops involved with that. We haven't done anything with that because it's a big program. There's no question about that.
Thank you.
Does that answer your questions, Councilman Hertzberg?
Yeah, it does. That would be a different topic then if we're talking about doing an emergency alert. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Godbout. Councilman Godbout.
You're muted again.
He's the tech guy here. There we go.
Yes.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. New business item 2, approval to amend the PUD development plan for the Nankin Mills subdivision by requesting to build a 2-story home on lot 10 instead of a ranch. This is Planning Department number 1336H. Planning Commission recommends approval conditioned upon the landscaping and tree installation shown on the community map rendering.
Is there a motion?
I'll move, Londo.
Motion by Councilman Londo.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Rakowski. Mo?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to summarize this real quick. I'll share my screen. I have a couple pictures up, and I know Joe from Pulte Homes is in attendance if you want to have him say a couple words. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so again, Pulte Homes is requesting to amend their PUD development plan that was approved by the city a couple years ago for Nankin Mills subdivision. The request to modify is for a condition that was placed for the original approval that required lot 10 outlined here to be constructed as a ranch style home. All of the other parcels here, this is an old aerial, but a lot of them are developed right now. All of these are individual lots for that subdivision, and these were approved, all of them, for 2-story development. The property owner here at 8425 Gray raised objections a couple years ago during this approval process, citing privacy concerns, I believe. And today, again, they're just requesting to modify this for a 2-story home. Since that approval, the property owner here who raised the concerns has moved, and therefore the planning department is recommending approval of this request, not only for that reason, but also because it's burdensome and sort of unreasonable to expect a developer to effectively market and develop this property when all of the other houses in the subdivision that's newly built are 2-story, and then you have this outlier here that's a ranch. Not convenient. I mean, not aesthetically pleasing for residents around it or attractive for a potential developer. And the landscaping that was mentioned by the clerk in your packet as a condition is this over here. That's all I have. I know Joe's on the line with us. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Real quick, I'll go to the petitioner real quick. It's Joe. Joe, are you available? Raise your hand so we can see you, and then IT can move you into a panelist view. All right, Joe, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the council?
Oh, well, I just want to say that I appreciate your consideration of our request tonight. Nankin Mills has been a very successful development. In fact, it's completely sold out with the exception of lot number 10, which of course is the subject matter of this agenda item tonight. And again, we appreciate your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, Joe, real quick, we'll move first to the maker. Is there any discussion from the maker?
Yes, Council President, just briefly, what's the I don't know if it's really in regards to this home in particular, but what's the progress look like in that sub? I haven't been in there in a while. Is this one of the only homes that's not built? Is there a few others that aren't built?
So as I mentioned, everything is sold. Not everything is closed. We expect all homes to be closed. Again, with the exception of lot 10, all remaining homes will be closed by October of this year.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, is there any discussion from the supporter? Councilman Rakowski?
Thank you, Council President. I'll be in support of this motion. You know, as when you're looking at the subdivision, you don't want anything to stick out. And it seems like a ranch home, a single ranch home in an entire development would stick out just horrendously. And it does seem like it would be more difficult to sell and be burdensome on the petitioner. So I think it's reasonable. I like the landscape design. It seems like it would still provide a nice amount of privacy for the other current homeowner on Gray Street.
Thank you. Next comment comes from Councilman McDermott.
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to the petitioner. So with this modification, is there a specific home purchaser or home buyer that's looking to make this modification, or is this something that is proposed by the developer?
No, this is proposed by Pulte. We've been diligently marketing a ranch home for this lot since the grand opening of the community, probably going on 2.5 years, and we've just had zero interest in it for a number of reasons that I could, I have my theories. So we believe, so there's no specific home buyer for this lot yet, but we believe once we open it up for a 2-story home, it will sell rather quickly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other discussion from the council? Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you. So I don't know where to begin on this one. We had meeting after meeting. I spent countless days meeting with residents on this development. It was already settled and voted on, and this home being a ranch was a condition of that, along with several other conditions. So through the chair to the petitioner, if you could talk about some of those other conditions and how much progress you've made on those.
So, I don't know exactly what conditions or specifics that you're speaking of. I can tell you that, Pulte has complied with the PUD and the conditions of approval. And quite frankly, I haven't heard of anything, at least from me personally, I haven't heard of any issues or any concerns that need to be addressed at this time.
Okay, well, I'd like to look at that list because I know there was quite a few different conditions on the development. And also to note that the neighboring resident who moved into that home abutting lot 10 did not sign off on this yet. So I'd like to move to table this item until we can get that list and get a report card on the progress on all the previous conditions that were made when this originally came forward. So I move to table this.
There's a motion to table by Councilman Hertzberg,
Support.
supported by Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? I'll offer my discussion. I think, again, the petitioner has been trying to sell this property for 2 years and then been unable to do so, and the entire development is sold. So it tells me that the house for a single-story ranch in a lot probably doesn't meet the demand of the environment or the neighborhood. So that's where I'll be. I'm not going to support tabling it. Mayor Wild, did you have some comment?
Thought there was no comment when there's a motion to table.
You are correct. Thank you.
All right.
I'm corrected. Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
No.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hertzberg.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
No.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
No.
President Hart.
No.
Please give me a moment. Motion fails.
Okay. Apologize for the break of policy there. It's my fault. Moving back to the original motion, is there any other discussion? Mayor Wild?
Thank you, Council President. Just one bit of discussion is that we have worked with Pulte on all the other outstanding issues with that subdivision. Most of those that I think the councilman is referring to was along the westerly portion that required some cleanup work through the woods. Some I think it was some silt work around the drains, and all that work was completed actually about a year ago. So at this point, we don't have any outstanding issues with Pulte, and they have done a good job there. They're going to deliver that subdivision a lot quicker than they thought they would. And at the end of the day, we do give them credit. We worked with them through the COVID situation so that home buyers that purchased houses, their houses weren't closed in. We worked with them so that they can make sure that the outdoor elements didn't get inside their new houses. And they've worked with us on just about everything. So I believe this will be the final issue on this subdivision.
Okay. Is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Councilwoman Green.
Relative to the ranch style home, there were residents who attended one of our previous meetings and specifically requested that lot be a ranch style. I'm curious if we have spoken to, or if the developer or the city, since there was a promise or guarantee made at that time, was there any discussion with the families in that area to advise them of a potential housing change, or will we essentially wait and hope we don't have a barrage of residents coming in accusing us of lying to them?
I spoke to the owner on Gray Street well, not the owner, the current owner of the property at Gray Street where the previous owner lived, who objected to the two-story proposal. And while he did not agree to sign off on a letter, he did not have the same objections in terms of privacy that the previous owner stated. His objection, I guess, and Joe, you can add on to this because I know you had a discussion with him too, and I don't like saying this on the record, but you asked. His objection was that he's not getting anything out of it. Those were exact words. I think I have an email as well. And I think he even potentially hired an attorney to try and get something out of signing a piece of paper, written approval or consent. So that's the extent of the conversation that I had with the owner at the Gray Street property, the current owner, not the previous.
So just so I'm correct, the previous owner is the owner that the city made or the developer and the city made the guarantee to. That person has since sold the home, and now the new owner has not placed any issues relative to this proposal on the table, but they refuse to sign off in agreement because of potentially wanting something out of the deal. That's correct?
We lost you, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion from the council? Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate, the guarantee for the ranch home was made to this council, not necessarily to an individual resident. This was put to bed a couple of years ago. I mean, we spent a lot of time trying to get this right and trying to make everybody happy to bring it forward now just to make a few more bucks, making a bigger home. I won't be in support.
Is there any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Hold. Councilman Godbout's hand did pop up at the last minute. Mr. Godbout.
Sorry, I couldn't find the button for raising my hand quick enough. If I recall the scenario, yes, the council did put in a condition as part of that. I don't recall that it was a guarantee. I believe that it said that they would make every effort to have that unit as a ranch unit. And the reason that that homeowner came forward, or that even passed, and it was, and if I recall correctly, it was not a unanimous support for having that added in, because that home was built without the originally when the home was built, it was built at the rear of that lot, was not built to city standards, still does not meet our current ordinance, but the previous administration allowed for the approval of that home being built on that location after the construction had already started. The materials were up. It still didn't meet it, but the previous administration allowed for that home to be constructed on that location. When they came forward with this development, you know, he had concerns about the privacy, because if you look at that map again, that home is significantly further to the back than any of the other homes in that area. And so that was the condition. And I recall that during the discussion that the gentleman that was representing Pulte at the time, I believe, indicated that they would make every effort to try and sell that as a ranch, but they could not guarantee it. And I think after this period of time, with every other unit being sold in that subdivision, that Pulte has made an effort to sell that as a ranch, and it's just not marketable as a ranch. So I will be supporting the motion.
Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Yes.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
No.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
No.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
New business item 3, approval of proposed land division 8332 Hugh Avenue, parcel number 005020223-000. This is Planning Department number 2231. Planning Commission recommends denial of the proposed land division.
Motion to deny.
There's a motion to deny on the table,
I support.
supported by Councilwoman Green. Is there any discussion from the council?
Don't you have to go to the maker and the supporter?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Discussion from the maker.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. I drove by this lot today. Just to sum it up, I really can't believe that they'll be able to fit 2 homes on that property. You know, a lot of the stuff that was included in our packet, I felt was a little bit insulting towards council. I mean, we had 30 or 40 pages from the petitioner, and you know, some of the stuff talks about other lots, other developments throughout the city. But you know, if he's here and wants to talk about it, I'm happy to go into detail, but it just doesn't add up. The lot's too small.
Councilwoman Green, do you want to let the petitioner speak, or Molise present before you speak, or do you want to go ahead and speak?
No, I'd like to follow policy, please, and I would like to speak. Thank you for giving me the floor. I also rode by that lot today, maybe around 5 o'clock, because I wanted to make an informed decision. If any council person has not ridden by that lot, you will do the neighbors in that area an extreme disservice. That lot is completely too small for 2 homes. It will not comfortably fit 2 homes without encroaching upon the property of the neighbors and possibly causing a nuisance situation. So this has nothing to do with the developer. This has everything to do with the personal enjoyment of the people who purchase homes next to that lot. It is not fair of us to make that decision. The lot is extremely too small for 2 homes, so I will not be in support of it. And I saw it firsthand. Thank you.
Mo, sorry, I got out of sequence there. Do you want to go ahead and present what you have for the rest of the council?
Yes, sir. I'm going to share my screen. This is just a tad bit longer than the previous one, just because I'm recommending approval here. So is the Planning Commission. So I just want to give the details. Here's an aerial up at your screen north of Merritt on Hughes Street. The property is located in an established single-family residential neighborhood just south of Joy and west of Middlebelt. The property is currently zoned R5, that's single-family residential. Deteriorated home. You can see it here, previously existed on the site, but was recently demolished. This is not an updated aerial. The petitioner is proposing to split the property into 2 equal-sized parcels, approximately near that red line, in order to allow for the building of 2 new single-family homes. The proposed parcels do not comply with the minimum lot width and lot size requirements in the R5 zoning district. The R5 zoning district requires 60-foot wide parcels for good reason, and 7,200 square feet in area, also for good reason. The 2 parcels are proposed at 5,400 square feet and 40 feet wide of frontage. So these all require a pair of variances for the 2 new lots. So 4 variances in total. That's going to be heard by the ZBA later this month. And the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on March 3rd. While no one was in attendance to oppose the project, both neighbors on either side did object. I believe you have both of their letters. One of them is in an email to the clerk, and the other is a letter, I believe, to the clerk as well, opposing the project, both on either sides. Reasons Planning Commission recommended denial consistent with the staff's recommendation are for the variances that are required to approve the land division request. And the Planning Commission stated that it will in times approve land divisions that require variances, but not substantial deviations such as these. And the Planning Commission did not feel comfortable in sending this request to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So it recommended denial to you to end the project there. An argument was made by the petitioner that similar sized parcels exist throughout the neighborhood. And while the Planning Commission did acknowledge and agree to this fact, it also understands that the existing 40-foot wide parcels are part of the original plat of the land that predates the city's incorporation and zoning. What else here? And I guess most notably, the Planning Commission didn't want to pave the way to do this on a normal basis for these massive deviations. I told you about the letter, and I can go through some of the pictures here real quick that I took when I was at the site. This is what it looks like in the winter. And those are the 2 residents on either side. I mean, there's stormwater drainage control issues, and then also parking issues that come with small sized lots like this. So the Planning Commission is recommending denial again. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mo, real quick, the Planning Commission is recommending denial, but when you started your comments, you said you're recommending approval. Was that a mistake?
Yes, it was. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on that. Believe the petitioner is here. Mr. Henney, Craig, can you please activate Mr. Henney so that he can speak to us? Hi, Larry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. What
Okay.
else would you like to say to council about this?
Okay, thank you for entertaining this. The purchaser would love to put 2 houses there. He builds this is Suave Homes. They build a very good home. They're well known in the Livonia area and the surrounding areas. Altogether, there are approximately 65 properties in that surrounding area, one block from either side of this property. There are a total of 65 properties. 41 of those properties are on their homes. 41 homes are on 40-foot lots out of the 65, and I can show you that as well. But my only thing is that yes, it is smaller than what would normally be allowed, but the size of the lot doesn't determine the quality of the neighborhood. The size of it's the quality of the homes and the quality of the neighborhood, the quality of the city services and the schools. This particular developer and builder would love to put a lot of good things into his homes. He's building the same exact home right now in Livonia on Inkster Road. That's on a 40-foot lot. And there's enough room there for him to put a garage in the back and so on. And he's putting in a really quality home. And that's what he'd like to do on both of those lots. When we put him in a position where he has to build it on an 80-foot lot, he can't, because of the market, he cannot put as much into it as he would like to. And so we would like to have a better quality home in that location, if at all possible. And that's why he's requesting to be able to build 2 homes.
All right, thank you, Larry. Stand by. Is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion from the council? I'll ask a question, Larry, just in case this goes. Can you provide the address for that location on Inkster Road in Livonia where they're building the home that they're suggesting?
Yes, I can. Just one moment. That is 19315 Inkster Road. That's between 7 and 8 Mile Road on the Livonia side.
Thank you, Larry.
Mm-hmm. I do have a photo. Can you see me or?
No, we don't. Sorry, we
don't
can't
have the okay.
No,
because I have a photo of that home as it stands right now. It's going to be done by September 1st, so it's in the process of being built.
Well, it's speculative because we don't even have a site plan in front of us, just a lot split. So we're kind of talking about the lot split, but I did want to was curious about the lot. So, or excuse me, what was kind of you guys are thinking. So we'll kind of get focused back on the motion here real quick. Is there any other discussion from the council? Councilwoman Rakowski, I see your hand raised there.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mo. Mo, so what we're discussing today is simply a lot split, right? The builder hasn't actually presented actual building plans for said future homes. Is that correct?
No, he has not. I did receive some elevation drawings, which I believe are in your package, but not building. Okay. No.
Okay, so there is the possibility that the homes being built, though they may not necessarily be a standard fashion that we're accustomed to seeing in that neighborhood, they still would have the same amount of square footage, just possibly a different layout.
I'm not sure. I don't have a plan for those, so I can't.
We haven't seen the actual building plan. Okay, so this would be going to zoning then.
So this is a 3-step process because of the variances that are required. So it will have to go to the zoning board for approval as well. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mo, just for the record, if City Council approves this request, does this give the developer the ability in the future to place 2 homes on that lot should they decide to do so?
No, and only because this requires a variance from the zoning board. So if you approve it and the zoning board denies it, then the project cannot, then the land division can't move forward. The 2 homes can't move forward essentially. So no, but the planning commission, I'm sorry, the city council is one of those tools that is required to move forward. Alternatively, if the council says no tonight, then this project cannot proceed to the zoning board.
And it is correct that the planning division has already recommended a denial of this project?
So the planning department recommended denial, and the planning commission did recommend denial.
Okay, thank you. For the record, whether or not this goes forward, I think it's a complete disservice to the residents in that area for any city council person to vote to approve this without even having seen the lot. It is extremely small. Even 1 home fitting over there would actually be as comfortable as it should be. So to go off of those pictures in the packet, which really do not clearly depict what it looks like over there, none of the homes on that street are sitting right on top of each other in the manner that would be required if you put 2 homes on that lot. None of those homes are positioned like that. And if you did not take it upon yourself to do the bare minimum and go and drive by the lot, but you would vote to approve something like that, I welcome the feedback of the citizens in that area, because it is extremely irresponsible to do so without having seen that lot. That lot is, in my opinion, only big enough for comfortably 1 home to fit. Thank you.
Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. I just want to echo the comments of Councilwoman Green. You do have to see it for yourself. There are a number of 40-foot lots in the neighborhood. The issue is those abut larger lots. And on those larger lots, the homes are set a little bit away from the property line. So with these 42 lots, it's going to be way too crowded. Even the other properties that are 40-foot lots, they're outdated. They don't meet the new standards for the city of Westland. And we have all the neighbors in objection to it. So regardless, I think 1 home could be built there. I think that's fine, but I will absolutely not be in support of splitting that into 2 lots.
Councilman McDermott.
2 things real quick. One, I as well will not be in support of this. We have both sides, left and the right, the neighbors are objecting to the lot split and ultimately to the build of 2 homes on 1 lot. And then furthermore, when we cast this vote, just for clarification, this is a motion to deny, correct? Thank you.
Councilman Rakowski.
Yeah, I too have driven by the site. And I'm familiar with the Hughes Avenue properties because I've spoken to many residents on that street as well. It's what's kind of perplexing is that both of the neighboring lots are also 40-foot lots. I think the thing is if we're talking about a property right and having the right to split the lot is what we're deciding today. We're not approving or disapproving the building of a home. We're approving or disapproving the ability of someone to bring forward a building plan. They may find that the plans that they choose to build won't be suitable to their standards. So I think it's important, I would like for the neighbors to be happy, but if they're on 40-foot lots as well, it's very difficult to see how they would be objective or how they would object, to their neighboring lot being the same size.
Does that conclude your comments, Councilwoman? Next, I have Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. Just to repeat myself, it would be 4 40-foot lots in a row if it is approved. The way it was set up was a 40-foot lot, then a bigger lot, then a 40-foot lot. So to say that the neighbors have a 40-foot lot, so they should have one, I don't think that's fair.
Councilman Green?
Thank you. I echo the sentiments of my colleague, Councilman Hersberg. And I think it's really unfortunate that as elected representatives of our community, we would not consider the voice of the citizens who live right next door to that property. And we, of course, wouldn't want two homes squished into a 40-foot lot next to our home, but we would impose that on residents in the city. I don't know how anybody could reasonably ride by that lot and say, sure, two homes could fit here. Those residents on those other lots have far more space than the lot that is being proposed for a split. And I just think it's very unfortunate because this is not the first time that I've seen council vote for things that affect our residents in a manner that they would not want near their home. One being 250 feet of these marijuana buildings that are coming. None of them will be 250 feet from our homes, but that passed as well, even though the Voice of the People asks us not to put them that close. So again, I will not support that because I had a firsthand look, and I think the voice of the citizens should be placed above what our personal opinion is, especially if we would not want that for ourselves. Thank you.
Councilman Godbout?
Thanks. You know, I think some of my colleagues make a lot of assumptions on whether council members go out and look at sites or not. I've been doing this for a long time, and I go out to every site on every council packet that I've received over the years. So, and I agree, this lot does not deserve to be split. It would create a bad situation, in my opinion, in that neighborhood from the comfort of those currently living there. So and if we did approve this lot split, and then it would go to the ZBA, and if the ZBA approves it, it would, correct me if I'm wrong, Mo, it would not come back before council for any kind of approval as long as the site plan met the variances that the ZBA approved. Is that correct, Mo, or would it still have to come back before us?
Residential site plans are approved by me as long as they meet the height and the square footage and stuff like that. You will never have an opportunity to look at it. No.
That's what I thought. Thanks for the confirmation, Mo. And then just to reiterate, we are voting when it does come up for the roll call, we are voting to deny. If I'm not mistaken, that was the motion, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Councilman Hersberg?
Thanks again. So through the chair to Mo, can you talk a little bit about that? I thought that this came on an agenda before, maybe last year. Was it postponed or was it tabled? Can you talk a little bit about why it's coming back?
Sure. Yeah, the Planning Commission heard it on March 3rd, and in March, I don't recall exactly what happened with the city council meet the second city council meeting in March. Potentially, it was postponed or eliminated. And then we all went virtually to Zoom. People had trouble getting onto Zoom, so this was postponed until I think the petitioner had the adequate capabilities of getting onto Zoom, and that happens to be today.
Did they go a second time before Planning Commission or just one time?
Nope, just one time.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? As a reminder, this is a motion to deny. Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Yes.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
No.
Please repeat that.
No.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
No.
President Hart.
No.
Motion passes. New business, item 4, confirmation of reappointment of David Rappaport to the Westland Planning Commission for a 3-year term with the term to expire August 5, 2023.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Londo.
Support Hersberg.
I got a motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hertzberg. Mayor, do you have anything to add?
Just real quick, and Mr. Rappaport, I believe, is on the phone call tonight. So we're asking you tonight to reappoint Mr. Rappaport to the Westland Planning Commission for a 3-year term. You know, he does a great job there. He also serves as the Planning Commission's liaison to the ZBA board. He is an attorney, longtime Westland resident. Like I say, does a great job. So we're asking you to give consideration to his reappointment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rappaport, do you have anything to add to that? Craig, you want to activate Mr. Rappaport? Mr. Rappaport, do you have anything to add before you go before us to figure out if you want to do this anymore?
Thank you very much for recognizing me, Council President. I just wanted to add that it's been my pleasure to serve the Westland community, as specifically with respect to my dual role as liaison to the ZBA, where I now serve as vice chair. I have an unprecedented look into exactly how these issues move through the system, and I have to say that we generally have a very strong tradition of listening to our community's comments and doing our best to weigh their concerns against the legal limitations of what we can accomplish for them. And I would once again very much like to serve this community for another 3 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rappaport. Is there any discussion from the maker?
No, Council President.
Any discussion from the supporter?
No, just that I support Mr. Rappaport. He does a great job on Planning Commission, and I'm glad to have that sort of expertise.
All right, is there any other discussion from the council? All right, Mr. Rappaport, nobody raised their hands. This is your last chance to run away.
Not gonna happen.
All right, very good. Roll call.
Councilman Godbout.
Yes.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations, David. Thank you for signing on for another term with us. Thank you.
New business item 5, confirmation of reappointment of Ken Sharp to the Westland Planning Commission for a 3-year term with the term to expire August 20, 2023.
So
moved.
moved, Rakowski.
I got a motion by Councilman Rakowski and I caught a
Support
support
Hersberg.
by, oh, look at you. He got you. I'll do Hersberg there for support. Mayor, do you have anything to add to this?
You know, I do, Council. This is special. This is asking for Council to reappoint the chair of the Planning Commission, Mr. Ken Sharp. He's actually been serving on the Planning Commission for 25 years. And before that, a lot of folks may not know that he was he also had a career with the city of Westland as a firefighter. Besides his work on the Planning Commission, he also is heavily involved with the community through the Lions Club, and his wife Carol is equally involved with the community through Warm Hearts. So these both Ken and his wife are very deeply involved with the city, and as the city moves more into the redevelopment phase, Ken's expertise on the Planning Commission has been very helpful and continues to be. So I would ask you to continue to support his nomination for reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ken, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to continue to serve. It's been a good long ride, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue. Been here in the city for longer than A lot of you are alive, so this is our home, so we're not going anywhere. So I look forward to serving again. And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter?
Thank you for your service, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, I'll give you the same options. Your last chance to run away.
No, I'm getting too old to run. I can walk fast, but I can't run.
All right, Ken. Well, look forward to supporting you here. Roll call.
Councilman Godbout,
Yes.
Councilwoman Green,
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg,
Yes.
Councilman Londo,
Yes.
Councilman McDermott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski,
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Congratulations, and thank you. We're very grateful.
New business, item 6, approval of voucher.
I'll move
So
Londo.
moved. Got a
Support
motion by
Hersberg.
Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Is there any discussion from the maker?
No discussion for me.
Any discussion from the supporter?
Yes, I do have discussion. Thank you. So on page 8, we got some of the CARES small business grant funds going out. Being that we are approving this tonight, I would have appreciated having the list of businesses instead of the names of the person. I'm not sure which businesses they are. I know Inspire Theater's on here, and I know one of them is the Florist on Ford Road. Can anybody speak to these grants? I'm a little bit concerned that salons and barbershops haven't applied. I find it odd that they haven't applied. They were closed for a while. And the city of Westland has 3 bowling alleys, which currently are still closed. And together, that's a pretty good chunk of change for the tax base. I'm concerned for the bowling alleys maybe going out of business. Did anybody reach out to the bowling alley to make sure that we can keep them open, or just if anybody can speak on the topic, appreciate it.
Yeah. Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, City Council. As you know, this program, we work collectively to put the money together through the Federal CARES Act, and we also work collectively to get the word out. I'm hoping that our colleague, Councilman Hersberg, called all of those bowling alleys and those hair salons that he know of, because we certainly tried to reach them ourselves, and the economic development team spent a lot of time and effort trying to contact people. Not everybody wants to share their financial information with the city for a grant this size. So everybody certainly had an opportunity, and I think everybody tried to help get the word out. And at the end of the day, I believe the checks that you're approving tonight will wrap up the rest of those grants. I think there was about $200 or $2,000 left in the pot that, actually, I think it was about $200 left that Joanne will start to reprogram that into the other 2 CARES Act programs.
Thank you. Councilman McDermott, as the representative from the council to the committee, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, Council President. And thank you, Mayor. To kind of build off what Mayor Wild has said, the initial week that this was open for the CARES Act funding to get applications in, we didn't have a swath of small businesses. So our Economic Development Director, Aubrey Berman, did go business to business around the community, letting people know that this is an option for them to be able to apply for potential grant funding and get some of the CARES Act relief. So I know that our Economic Development Director did go business to business, talking to many of the business owners across the city. That includes reaching out to many of our hair salons, our nail salons, and also the 3 bowling alleys here in the city of Westland. And then we actually extended, I believe by a week, the time frame that this was going to be open for applications, to try and entice any business at the last minute that was finding out about this, or maybe hadn't had the chance to get all their paperwork together to get that in. So we actually held that open for an extra week to get more businesses on and to encourage more businesses to apply. All in all, I want to say too that I was in a meeting on the subcommittee with our Economic Development Director, Aubrey Berman, and also with Mr. Dwayne Walker. And we went line by line, business by business, through a spreadsheet that Aubrey had put together prior to our meeting, to look at each individual business, their financial records, and then how we could best impact helping that business with the ultimate dollar amount that was determined based on their payroll, based on their expenses, rental agreements in the buildings that they occupy, and so forth. So there is a list available of the individual businesses that we are ultimately looking to assist with this money, not just the business owners themselves. So I'm sure that's something that can probably be provided as well. But rest assured that I know our economic development team, and specifically Ms. Berman herself, went business to business, encouraging business owners to apply for this. As well, our fire department, when they were doing inspections on businesses, also spread the word, getting information out about this, about the grant funding that was available for small businesses as well.
Thank you, Councilman McDermott. Councilman Herzberg, is that you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion from the council? Roll call.
Councilman Godbout,
Yes.
Councilwoman Green,
Yes.
Councilman Herzberg,
Yes.
Councilman Londo,
Yes.
Councilman McDermott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski,
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We now move to comments and requests from the public. Everyone speaking before the council should do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker and will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. It is the speaker's option to ask questions at this time, and the person questioned may choose to respond during the speaker's allotment of time. The clock will not be stopped when it is started. Do we have anyone from the public? First, I have Mr. Gary Chappell. Gary, you there? Gary, you are muted, I believe. Are you there? You'll have to unmute yourself,
Yes.
Gary.
Hello?
There we go. We got you. So your time begins now.
Finally. Well, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. It's nice to see everyone doing their business for the city. I appreciate all your comments tonight concerning the healthcare crisis that needs to be addressed. And I'm looking forward to exciting things happening with that. Other than that, I wish everybody a good evening and stay safe.
Thank you, Gary. We will move on now to Mr. Edward Pruitt. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Can you hear?
Oh, you broke up. Are you still there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Now I can. Your time begins now, sir.
All right, Pastor Edward Pruitt here again with A Better Westland. As a resident, I find today to be another sad day in Westland. While we celebrate, we also put our heads down in disgust. We expect better from our governance, who just passed a resolution on the side of racial justice, but proved quite the opposite in the same breath. Hypocrisy. Integrity and character is at stake here. Integrity and character requires doing what's right all the time and not what you can prove to support ills. A Forbes article dated June 16, 2020, it states the title as "Dear White People, here are 5 uncomfortable truths Black colleagues need you to know." The heading, first truth, quoted, "Racism doesn't just show up in its most extreme form. There is indeed a continuum of racist thoughts and behaviors, and you may be on it." Quote from the article, quote, "The truth is that most Black people, thankfully, won't encounter the Derek Chauvin knee on your neck brand of racism. Instead, they're much more likely to have their comment dismissed or ignored in a meeting, which would," end quote, "which would include taking credit and using obscure policy language to silence a minority member. What we saw when the original resolution was gutted was racism. What we saw today when an obscure policy was used to support a racist act was clear racism. From slavery through Jim Crow and now, we find white members of society in a position of power taking credit for the work of a Black member of society. It has been long proven that Black members of society have to work twice as hard to go the same distance as white members of society. Barack Obama had to get a Harvard degree and still was characterized as he was not qualified. But George Bush, 43, was able to move forward with C's. A resolution passed today. While we celebrate the resolution passing, we also celebrate what was further exposed. What it further exposed is that racism is, as hidden as it often seems to be, is bold right in our government in Westland and on full display, and that character and integrity is lacking. We demand better from our government. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Sharp, Kenneth Sharp. Ken, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Ken, go ahead.
I just want to thank all the members of council for the positive vote, for allowing me to continue, and thank the mayor for his kind words in regards to my wife Carol and I and our involvement in the city. That's it. Everybody be safe and be healthy.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken. Next, we move on to Ashley Stevens.
Hello, can you
Hello.
hear me?
I can hear you. Please begin.
I think saying best practices as part of a policy is so vague and doesn't clearly state that resolutions that are submitted by council members have to have the council president listed on the agenda. As a resident of Westland, I would like to see more transparency from our government. I would like to know which council members are submitting what. I would like to see study sessions posted on YouTube as well. I understand that there's an executive order that does not require you to have the study sessions posted on YouTube, but your residents want to see what's going on in their community and how it's transpiring. I think you need to consider if your best practices are really best practices. I mean, you literally have to go into YouTube to change the settings so your study sessions don't automatically post online. You pay someone to do, your residents can't see after the live feed. That's not okay. You guys need to consider this. We are the residents of Westland and we want to know what is going on. We demand transparency from you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Blake Perry. Blake, are you there?
Yeah, is my mic on?
We can hear you, Blake.
Okay, I just wanted to say, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody with a display or without a display votes tomorrow. And the second thing, we have a former psychiatric hospital in our city that we have on display that shows how people were treated horribly. And it is on display that people can come see how people were tortured, but yet we don't have an inclusion plan for people with disabilities. We're the only city in Wayne County that displays how horrible people were treated in the institution. So I understand that this is a very strong testament according to some of our city charters. So I just wanted to actually come and actually address that and see what you guys can reply. I don't understand why that makes sense to display all the horrible things that people went through at Eloise, and we don't even have a policy implemented like Citrulli would have done. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just being 100. It is what it is. So I don't feel if I'm voting for somebody, I'm voting for people to make sure that I'm inclusion as well as other people with disabilities. So I'm done.
Thank you, Blake.
No.
Next, we have Miss Gina Wilson Stewart. Gina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is Gina from the Western Wayne County NAACP. First, I wanted to just let everyone know that our listening tour that we had scheduled for August 13th in Inkster for Booker Dozier, we have postponed it as we're trying to follow the executive orders of the governor. So we will reschedule it and let everyone know when it's going to happen, probably sometime in September. So just keep your eyes open to the internet. So that's the listening tour for August has been postponed. Next, I wanted to thank the council for actually having a unanimous vote to pass the resolution for racism is a public health crisis. And I do recognize that it went through a couple of iterations, but I think it was teamwork that got it done. But you know, that's just the beginning. The resolution is one thing. Then we have the commission that's going to be formed, and then we'll have decide how we're going to move forward so that we won't have systemic racism in Westland. So we know this is just the beginning, but we have a lot of work to do. And I'm sure the people from the community actually wants to buy in to make sure that everyone is treated equally and some level of fairness is in the city. So I'm looking forward to seeing that move forward. And lastly, the primary election is tomorrow, and I just wanted to make sure everyone votes, as well as tell their family members, their friends, their enemies, their neighbors, everyone to go to the polls and vote, and hopefully have a great day tomorrow for voting turnout. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Gina.
All right.
All right. We see another hands raised, so we'll move to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Good evening, council. Once again, I'm going to keep it real short tonight. I know that city clerk wants to get out of here. They've got a big day tomorrow. They've had a long last couple of weeks. Council, I appreciate the unanimous vote that went into your resolution tonight. And I also appreciate the fact that you worked with some of the community partners that are dedicated to improving our city on a lot of different levels. And I respect the resolution, and I'm committed to putting together a commission within the 90 days. And I'll be back with you to talk a little bit more about how we'll do that. And we'll reach out to our community partners as well. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody in the clerk's department a good night's sleep tonight. And we know that you'll deliver a nice, calm, cool, successful election here in Westland. So Mr. Clerk, I know you guys have been working really hard, so we appreciate your dedication, and we wish you good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything from the city attorney's office today?
Council President, nothing from the city attorney's office. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McNamara. We'll move into council comments. Just like the mayor said, just kind of consider the poor clerk. He's got an election to run tomorrow. So I'm offering a free gift card to whoever has the shortest speech today out of all council members. So we'll see who wants to win that. We'll open up today with Councilman Hertzberg.
Rules are rules, Council President. I've got a speech here about 10, 15 pages long. No, I'll keep it brief too. Good luck to the clerk tomorrow. Reminder to everybody, don't split your ticket. Vote for only one party. I hope you found enough people, Mr. Clerk, to run the election. Hope everything goes smooth. Just in relation to the resolution that was passed tonight by council, I lost connection for a minute towards the end of the discussion and came right back into voting. You know, we had a good study session about it. There was a lot of input. We covered, I feel like, a lot of angles on where this is going to go. So, you know, one thing the resolution doesn't do, it doesn't take the hate out of people's hearts. So as was stated, it's just the beginning and there's a lot of work to do. I got a couple of emails from residents regarding Crunch Fitness being open and why isn't the city ticketing them. The Attorney General is responsible for that. And to my knowledge, they did receive a ticket, or at least one ticket. So they're open against the executive order, and that'll be handled at the state level. And then I did receive some questions about Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, whether it was happening or not. I was hoping the administration would comment on that, maybe next meeting. So with that, good luck, Mr. Clerk, tomorrow. Thanks.
Well, Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. I apologize in advance if I start breaking up. A couple council people have said it is election day tomorrow. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. You can also register to vote the same day. So please let your voice be heard. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Rappaport and Mr. Sharp on your reappointments to the commissions. Look forward to working with you, and thank you for the great work you're doing for the city of Westland. Just as a general FYI, most residents know that, but if you ever need me to assist you with anything, to show up, whatever the issue or concern is, please do feel free to call me directly on my cell phone. I can be reached at area code 734-828-7010. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, Councilwoman Tasha Green. I would like to thank the community for, I would like to thank the community. I'm having computer issues. I'd like to thank the community for supporting the resolution. As many of you know, the process of getting this resolution passed or even presented in a manner that would make meaningful change looks good on the outside, but on the inside and behind closed doors, it was definitely an uphill battle. And as one of the callers stated, I do believe that some of the issues that we overcame successfully were rooted in racism. But we have arrived today with a resolution that will is the first step at real equality in the city of Westland. So thank you. And I'd also like to thank many of the community partners who came forward and demanded that Westland officials do the right thing and allow every community, especially communities of color, a voice at the table, and that the elected representatives hear the pleas and the cries of the people, much of whom supported this resolution as written. Those community partners include Senator Erica Geis, the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, our Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Femmes for Dems and Femmes for Change, Lori Goldman, Michigan United, A Better Westland, Pastor Edward Pruitt, Pastor Duckworth, Inkster Ministerial Alliance, the NAACP, every Westland resident, especially those who I was able to talk to in the community. Thank you for your support. This is just the beginning. I appreciate you, and I'm going to continue to stand with you against all odds. I have been fighting for equality, not only racial equality, but gender equality since I was elected 3 years ago. And as you can see, based on some of the things that happened tonight, we have not quite arrived yet. But there's still much work to do. And what we did as a community with that resolution was the exact thing that many of our elders have been doing and did for people like me and others to sit here today. So we actually wrote history in the city of Westland, and we did that together. So thank you for that. And with that, I wish you a good night and great election day tomorrow. Thank you.
Councilman Godbout.
Thanks. I'd just like to congratulate David Rappaport and Ken Sharp for their reappointment to the Planning Commission. Thank both of you guys for your willingness to continue to serve on the Planning Commission. And don't forget to vote tomorrow. That's all I have. Have a good evening.
Councilwoman Rakowski.
Good evening. I too would like to congratulate and thank Mr. Rappaport and Mr. Sharp with their reappointment and their long-term service to our community. And like I said, I'm always inspired by those who give of themselves to their communities. So thank you, gentlemen, again. The WYAA fall baseball program is still taking players. I don't know. It's my son's first time playing baseball, so we'll see what happens. But they are having fall baseball. So if you're interested, please reach out to the Westland Youth Athletic Association and sign up. I'm proud of the resolution, and I'm proud of our community for what has transpired. A little bit of background, though. generally when something gets put on the agenda, it takes 3 of us. And this time it got to the agenda really fast. And so being new to council, I don't know what the precedent has been for names being attributed. I think we all know, and we know as a community, that Councilwoman Green brought that resolution forward, not Council President Hart. I don't think Council President Hart is trying to take any sort of credit for it. And if we could make a notation, I don't know if I need to make a motion, but if we could make a notation in the minutes to reflect that the resolution was brought forth by Councilwoman Green, that would be greatly appreciated by myself. I'm proud of our resolution because a similar resolution was presented in our Senate and House of our state, where they were directly put into committee to die. And so we have an actionable resolution. And as Councilwoman Green stated, this is the first step. And I'm very proud of our community. We didn't take what could have been the easy route, but sometimes you can't take the easy route. I'd rather have action than words getting stuck in committee. Please vote tomorrow. Vote one side of your ballot, one side of your ticket. Don't split it. Be mindful of one another as you're venturing out. Social distancing still applies. You do not need to wear a mask to cast your ballot, but if you can, please do. And with that, I thank you.
Councilman McDermott.
Thank you. I would love to win that gift card, but I have a few more words to say, so I'm probably going to be out of the running. First and foremost, thank you to all of my colleagues, and specifically and particularly, thank you to Councilwoman Green for bringing this resolution up in the first place, and that we were able to work with members of the community, organizations inside and outside of the community to make this happen, to make it a better resolution. I'm happy that Councilwoman Green took the lead on this and that we were able to get this passed in the community. This is but one step of many that we need to take to ensure equity and equality within our community, within our police department, and to make Westland a more welcoming, diverse, and inclusive community for all of our residents. On that note, I too would echo Councilwoman Rakowski's sentiments that we put a note in the minutes that Councilwoman Green was the one who brought this forward. And with that said, I know for a fact from speaking with him, from knowing him as a colleague and knowing him as a man and a person outside of council, that Council President Hart had no intention of taking credit for this. This is the way that we have put things on the packet in years past. This was a procedure that we have taken as a council long before myself or him got on council. And I know him to be a good man of outstanding character with no prejudice in his heart. So for those that may not like or may not always agree with my colleague, our Council President Hart, I know him to be a man of outstanding character and a good and decent human being. So while our emotions get heated and things get carried away, I just want to say to people in the community watching, he's a good and decent person. And it was not his intention to take credit for this in any way, shape, or form. As all my colleagues have said, thank you to Mr. Sharp and Mr. Rappaport for your service to the community. We really appreciate it, and we need good people like you to continue to work on boards and commissions here in the city of Westland. And also, as many of my colleagues have said, tomorrow is an incredibly important day, as it says right behind me, vote, because it is election day. Remember, you cannot split your ticket, so you're voting either Democrat or Republican. There are some millages for the county to vote on as well. And remember to, if you have an absentee ballot outstanding, please don't mail it in. Please take it directly to the clerk's office because it has to be in to the clerk's office by 8 p.m. So if you have an absentee ballot outstanding, please, please, please take that into the clerk's office to make sure that your vote is counted. The final thing that I want to comment on tonight is something that is a matter for all of us here in the city of Westland, across the state and across the country. The federal stimulus has run out. So that extra $600 that people are getting in terms of unemployment benefits has run out. And so have many of the eviction and foreclosure moratoriums throughout the country. So please, please, please call your member of Congress in our case, Congresswoman Tlaib, our senators, Senator Stabenow and Senator Peters, and call other members of Congress and other senators who may not be on board with extending the unemployment insurance, with extending foreclosure moratorium and eviction moratorium, because we cannot allow families, we cannot allow people to go destitute and be out on the street, to be homeless, to be hungry. If you think we're in a crisis now with COVID, it would be 10 times the crisis, 10 times the catastrophe if we're dealing with 20+ million people out of work and now homeless with no place to go and no food to eat. So please call your members of Congress, please call your senators, all of them, whether it's your own individual representative or otherwise, and make sure that we extend benefits and extend the stimulus for people of this country. With that, I will remind people, please go out and vote. Polls are open 7 to 8 tomorrow. Thank you.
Council President Pro Tem Michael Londo.
Thank you, Council President Hart. To start off, and also welcome back, and appreciate David Rappaport and Commissioner Sharp for serving on our Planning Commission. Both of those gentlemen serve in tough roles, and they both provide, I watch a lot of the planning committees. I try to watch all the Planning Commission meetings, and both of those gentlemen do an outstanding job on that board. They're the first line of defense for projects that come forward. So thank you to both of them for stepping up to serve on that board again. As far as the resolution, I want to thank the Council President for scheduling a study session and bringing in various stakeholders to join in on the discussion. And a big thank you to everyone that participated in that discussion on last Monday, whether they were a panelist or whether you dialed in and provided feedback. The Council President broke protocol, and we allowed residents to speak at the beginning of the study session for a minute, and then we allowed them to speak at the end of the study session. The feedback really helped drive our decision for this resolution moving forward. And the action items in this resolution are going to be what really matters. So I'm very proud of this resolution that the City Council passed unanimously tonight. And I believe, like Pastor Overman said, this will be a resolution and action items that other cities will look to follow. Just real quick, I want to credit the police department, the Westland Police Department. They shared a video with the local media from an incident that happened on June 21st, or maybe it was June 22nd, I apologize, where a man was doing donuts in the middle of the road on Ford Road late night on a Friday night, early morning, Saturday morning. I actually witnessed this firsthand. I knew something was wrong. I called 911. The police responded very quickly. Both Westland Police and Garden City officers were on scene within minutes. It was a very scary situation. The car caught on fire, and the man did not want to get out of the vehicle. We don't know exactly what happened or why he wouldn't get out of the vehicle, but our officers and the Garden City officers did a fantastic job at de-escalating the situation. I was across the street, but I was watching, and I could hear some of the feedback and hear some of the things that were said. And your officers did a fantastic job, Chief. I saw your lieutenant was out there. Your road sergeants were out there as well. And I personally watched Officer Garcia, Shamir Garcia, who's a new officer, sit by this gentleman with his hand on his shoulder and really just spoke to this gentleman and said, "We're here to help you. We want to help you." So they really did a fantastic job. I'm sure they'll get some awards for that moving forward. But just want to say thank you to the Westland Police Department for their efforts. Last but not least, thank you all the election workers in the clerk's office for all their hard work leading up to the election and the election that'll take place tomorrow. The polls are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get out and vote, and good luck to all the candidates that are on the ballot as well. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. I'll begin tonight by thanking Councilman McDermott for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. Like everyone else, Mr. Rappaport and Mr. Sharp, may God have mercy on your soul. We're fortunate, and I feel sorry for you, but we're ever so grateful and thankful. Thank you to the council for passing this resolution. I'd like to thank Councilman Green again for bringing it forward and then allowing us to all work in a large committee to make it better, drive around some of our challenges with charter, and actually make it even more powerful, actionable, and time bound, which is something the other one didn't have. So that was an addition to Councilwoman Rakowski. So a little outside of normal protocol, but we all got a resounding support on that at our study session. And the study session was a fantastic study session. We did break protocol a little bit, but it was important. And I think we really helped to have that feedback on the front side, as well as having the feedback on the back side. And the participation from Dr. Duckworth, Gina Stewart from the NAACP, and Pastor Overman from the NAACP, as well as the Inkster Ministerial Alliance, was very valuable. So I'm very grateful for all of us working together, all council members moving this forward. I think we're all pretty proud of what we have here. So it's really, really a good thing. I'd like to thank Councilman McDermott for your comments. I wasn't expecting that. but it gets you thinking. I'm a human being. Okay. I'm a person. I have a heart. I have a soul. I have a family. But I have a job to do, and that's the council president. And that job is sticking to the policies and procedures, running an effective meeting, and taking care of the business of the city and kind of keeping us on track. And it's difficult at times, but you know, I do my best. I've gotten some really unnecessary verbal attacks from some people recently over things aren't true, and it hurts. It really does. The only person that hurts more than me is my wife and my kids. And we do a pretty good job of shielding my kids from it, but I know my wife is watching this on YouTube right now, and I ask her not to, but she still does because someone's got to look after Jim, right? Because sometimes nobody else is. And sometimes she gets really upset, but Mike, your comments today are going to go pretty far. I'm thankful. And on behalf of my wife, who I haven't talked to yet, thank you. It's hard. So with that, I wish everyone a good evening. Mr. Clerk, good luck tomorrow on a successful election. Mr. Godbout, I owe you a gift card. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Good evening, everyone.